What is up, you guys? We are here for AfterBuzz TV Survivor David vs. Goliath. It is the finale. You guys, we have a winner. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up? You guys, the finale.
What's going on?
I'm so happy, everyone.
It's finally here.
Woohoo! You guys, we have Mike Feeling in Skype,
Yes.
chatting with us in the box because he's in New York and he wanted to be here that bad for the finale. What's up, Mike?
What is up, guys? I'm here with my special at-home daily co-host, Bam Bam, and we are pumped to talk about this episode.
I just want to quickly give a shout out to Bam Bam's attire. That is an amazing turtleneck.
So cute.
You guys, the finale, season 37, David vs. Goliath. We are here. We made it. Oh my God, we have a winner.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get into all of that, thank you everybody for joining us in live chat. Thank you for joining us all season. You've been amazing. Everybody that's liked, subscribed, giving us a thumbs up on our YouTube videos, on iTunes. We love you guys. Thank you for being here. I'm your host, Paige Bonanno, and my co-host.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Timothy Michael.
Hey everyone, Veronica Valencia here.
And Mike.
Yeah, guys, I'm here, Mike Feeling. This is awesome.
Oh my God.
Such a good finale.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm very excited too.
Okay. Nick, hats off to Nick. Woohoo! Can we get a round of
Nick.
applause?
Yes, great job, Nick. Congratulations.
Kentucky grown guy, underdog David from the start, pulled it off and won this season. I mean, what are your guys' overall thoughts on him being the winner, him being up versus Mike and Angelina? Give me everything.
I mean, there were some minor surprises in there and throughout the entire episode in general. I think overall it wasn't that big of a surprise in the end. As soon as Davey went home, I think all of us can pretty much agree that it was either going to be Nick. Mike, I thought was going to come out with it for a second, but after Nick's story for the jury, I was like, no, Nick won for me.
At the end, when they started pulling out, during the final tribal, the live finale, when they started pulling out all those mics, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I got nervous because, I mean, I would have been happy with Mike as well, but I really wanted Nick to win. I just, he was like the underdog story, but he also played such a great social game. What do you guys think?
No, I completely agree. Obviously, in this episode, for me, it came down to either Davey or Nick. I wanted either one of those two to win. And then when Davey went home, I was disappointed, but then I thought, okay, Nick has to win. But to be perfectly honest, I had butterflies this entire episode because had Nick not won those 3 immunities, he very well could have gone home, and then I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah. I mean, he won 3 immunities. Can we just
That's insane.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, what were your overall thoughts on this episode?
Throughout the entire season, Nick grew on me and grew on me and grew on me. He wasn't my favorite from the beginning. And as we talked about, we went through a couple of our favorites. I also was upset that Davey got voted out. But then just this whole episode, Nick was killing it, really grew on me, and I was so happy for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Davey, it seemed like for most of us, it was Davey or Nick, right? So, that's kind of who we wanted. There were a couple others in there that would have been fine. But speaking of Davey being voted out, so that was our first tribal. So we had 4 tribals, 3 main ones, and then our final tribal.
Yeah.
So when Davey was voted out right at the beginning, and he's like, you guys, well, first of all, he didn't really believe that Nick didn't know about that he was getting voted for.
Yeah.
But also he's like, whoever orchestrated this, you guys now have my vote. You have my vote for $1 million, and make sure that you make some big moves from here on out.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you guys
Which isn't true, by the way.
It's not true, yeah.
That they didn't make big moves.
No, he didn't vote for...
Well, no, he didn't vote for Mike.
Right. He did. Mike did orchestrate that.
Yeah, and then he said if anybody else, can top that, then you will give me my vote. But I think Elizabeth said it the best when Jeff asked the jury, hey, do you guys want to start it off? And she said, hey, we're all undecided. And I feel like Nick really, won the jury over with his answers to their questions.
I was very impressed with a lot of his answers to the questions because even though, as a viewer, it seemed very black and white who would win this game, as Mike made it out when it was being decided who would go to the fire challenge, he was like, oh, this is your game to lose. And I just thought his answers were very impressive because he didn't talk as if yes, I kind of know this is in the bag for me.
Nick's answers.
He was very persuasive and trying to display the best game for himself and tell him and convince the jury why he deserved to win.
And I mean, hats off to him for not only playing a great game this entire season, but in this episode there were 3 immunities and he won all 3 of those immunities. That's huge.
He definitely outplayed his other survivors.
He outplayed. Yeah, he definitely did. So speaking of that immunity. So the second immunity. He won the first one, then he wins the second one. And then right when we get back, Angelina basically pulls Nick away right from the beginning, has this big ploy of what she wants to do with this idol situation. I mean, this kind of like played out like throughout the game, and this was kind of like a big thing that could have make or break Angelina's game, right?
I mean, I liked how Angelina, I don't want to say played, because I don't like how she played. I think she shot herself in the foot or put her foot in her mouth or whatever several times. I think the whole her making a fake idol for Alison was unnecessary. I felt like it was exactly like everybody else felt. I felt like she had an opportunity with finding, you know, the clue to the hidden immunity idol in the beginning of the episode, and then, you know, asking for help to find it. It could have been a very humbling experience for her, and it could have been, you know, a kind of a turnaround for her character, I want to say. But I hope she watches this back and like
kind of sees how she acts a little bit.
And then just realizes that it's a turnoff for people, because she didn't get any votes in the end, and it's not surprising.
And she said that she can come off like too strong sometimes, and come off like what did she say at the end? Like
too interviewing and insincere.
Yeah, too interviewing, and she's insincere, and that's how she sounds. And I think in her mind, she honestly doesn't mean it that way.
Right.
But like the way that it comes off to like us as the viewer and like people maybe in her life, it just seems like she's fake to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know what? At the end of the day, she got to final 3.
Right.
I don't think at the end of the day we can sit here and say she was a GOAT. I think that she, answering the questions, going into it, I was like, she ain't got no shot. And she didn't, obviously, just based on the votes. But hearing her, listening to her answer these questions, I was like, okay, you can be sincere. Where was this entire time?
Exactly. Well, piggybacking off of what you're saying, Timothy, is I think Angelina had all the pieces lined out to play a very good game, and I can give credit where credit is due. Like, she knew she had to manage the jury well with Elizabeth.
Yeah.
She knew, you know, if you play a really good social game and give back to your fellow tribe mates, it can go well in your favor, hence the rise. She just executed them all very poorly.
Okay, yes, to your point, executing poorly, I mean, we're saying that, you know, credit where credit is due. She wasn't, not like she came in as the underdog. She came in as a Goliath. You know, she was really strong at first, and then like with the Elizabeth vote was kind of her downfall, right? So she should have maybe gone home at that point, but she really did turn her game around and really came back. But like the fact that she found this idol, as you said, it could have been a very humbling experience for her, but yet she feels the need to make a fake idol just so she can get votes used against her, so she plays the idol correctly. Like, you had to play that idol tonight regardless.
Yeah.
But you blew up your spot by telling Mike and everybody that, oh, I need you to go tell the girls to vote for me so that I have this outwit thing on my resume. I mean, Mike, what do you think about that? You're shaking your head. You're like, come on.
That was one of the weirdest things I think I've ever seen in Survivor. Because from a idea perspective, that sounds great. But why would you lay out your entire plan of this is what I want to do, literally just to get some check marks on my resume so that they will see it? Why would you even tell anybody that? I was amazed that she didn't get lambasted in the final tribal council by the other guys saying, wait a minute, we found the idol. You couldn't find it by yourself. What are you talking about? You needed us to find it. You haven't done anything besides step away and give everybody rights, which we've all heard about 8 million times. So
yes, and Mike made a big deal too. He's like, kind of called her out saying, why do we need these big theatrics, these big fireworks? Like, we don't need this. The vote should be very easy tonight. And then it's basic, but I do find this a little bit funny. So like, Mike goes right away and like tells Kara about this whole plan, this whole plot that Angelina has to play this fake idol, whatever. So he tells Kara, right, because he says he doesn't want to betray her. Him and Kara have this great thing. But then Kara right away flips on him before anything. She says, all right, well, then we need to get Mike out tonight because he's the bigger threat. I mean, do you think, obviously Kara voted for Mike at the end, so their relationship is solid enough. But that kind of stuck out to me that she like right away kind of made the flip.
I don't think anything surprises me nowadays in Survivor. I mean, you know, when you're in the game, it's completely different, and when you're taken out of the game, it's like I respect you more if you're not going to be butthurt about it. It's like, you know, it was a game. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a game. I mean, you can't take it personally. You know, you look at it from, you know, an outsider's point of view, and you say who played the best game, whether you were part of it or not.
Yeah. And I mean, props to Alison too, because she found this fake idol and she's like, come on. But it's probably because Kara went and told her, hey, Angelina has the idol. So she knows there's not another idol in play.
Going off of that, I was very worried. I was like, please, Alison, please, like, don't fall for it. Just because, like, she knew that Angelina had the idol. When she found that, I was really hoping she wouldn't fall for it.
Yeah.
And good thing, like, she didn't. She was like, might as well test this. What have I got to lose?
And the fact that it's right there in the tree, like, and then Angelina's like, oh my God, you found it. But, you know, she goes up to Jeff and basically says, like, hey, this idol, like, I'm assuming it's fake.
Yeah.
But also at Tribal, like, Angelina's making this big theatrical thing when nobody's even like playing into this with her. Like Mike, and the people that she tells, Mike and Nick, they're like, yeah, whatever. But she's still doing it. Like she goes into Tribal, she's like, yeah, back at camp today, like it was an all-out battle between me and Alison. Like our names were thrown out. We're like, Angelina, nobody threw your name out. Like you're the only one playing along with this game.
It's just Angelina's, like, it's just what goes on in Angelina's head.
Right.
And I, like, honestly, like I said, I think that she was her own downfall. Speaking of Alison, and, you know, Mike, you said, you know, Nick really grew on you. Alison in the last couple of episodes have really grown on me. I was really...
100%.
Yeah.
I was really struggling, and Veronica feels the same way. We were really struggling to find what this whole agenda to get Alison out was about.
I don't get it.
And she was such a nice person.
And she was
such a great person.
strong, but like she didn't like
fine
win
player.
25 challenges in a row.
Right. I don't understand where this vendetta to get her out came from. I think it was all Angelina's idea, and once again, it's Angelina in her head.
Yeah.
Like she's like an alpha female, and she sees Angelina as an alpha
Right.
female. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I really liked Alison's last couple of episodes, especially on this one. I really felt when she got voted out, I felt for her. I was really upset that she got voted out.
Right.
I feel the exact same way, Timothy. I felt for her these last couple episodes because she never got selected to go on reward challenge or anything, and everyone just had it out for her, and guys, I don't understand why. I didn't see her as a challenge threat, as we saw in some of these last challenges. She wasn't a challenge threat. I don't necessarily think she was as much of a social threat as, say, Mike or Nick or Davey or who else was left in the game, and so I truly don't understand, like you were saying to me, where this vendetta to get her out came from.
I think she's just very good socially, like in general. Like she's a very empathetic person, and I don't know. I think maybe like something about her personality people are just like relating with, and they kind of feel like she could win. But speaking of Alison, I mean, like her and Mike kind of had this like going back and forth at Tribal, and Alison did end up voting for Mike at the end.
Yes.
So we see that this obviously didn't have anything against it, but Mike apologized to her at the end because of this encounter that they had at Tribal.
Well, I want to talk about before that even got to the two Tribal. I mean, Alison and Mike have had a really great relationship up until this point, and then, you know, at the end of the day, once again, it's a game. Like you're gonna have to turn on your people if you need to. And Alison understood that. She's like, I've been on the chopping block literally for the last 5 votes.
Right.
And at this time, I mean, if I have to go against Mike to win $1 million, that's what I'm gonna do. And she didn't do it like hardcore. She wasn't like campaigning to go against Mike, but she did bring up his name. And then at Tribal, like you said, Paige, like you brought up, he turned against her full force. And I honestly didn't like how he did that. And I'm glad he apologized when the jury like brought it up. But at the same time, what was that about? I
found it so rude, and I was just like, is this just the pressure of your name being thrown out at Tribal that you turn into this very rude and disrespectful person, the way you're talking to
They
her?
kind of touched us at the end a little bit where they say, Mike, you were very sarcastic, but sometimes your sarcasm like bites. Like it gets a little bit too much, and I feel like maybe that's kind of what was happening. I don't think he's like a rude person. I don't know, Mike, you're shaking your head. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that's his sarcasm at all. I think he had not been, until that point, really brought up, I mean, maybe second only to Kara as a major threat. So I think all of a sudden Alison saying that, he got, to me, that was hyper defensive. And it's like, whoa. And I was actually really disappointed that they didn't follow through at that Tribal voting him out. Because to me, again, I kind of got on the Nick train as we went along this episode. And at that point, to me, as I think was evident with the final Tribal Council, Mike was the biggest threat. I think Mike had the biggest opportunity to win, because I said, if Mike gets to the final Tribal, I think he's got the best shot at being persuasive and talking jury members into voting for him.
So Mike, you're saying Mike, you're saying if Mike had gotten targeted earlier, we would have saw his true colors way before, way in advance.
I think possibly. I think Mike has been, for the last few number of votes, whatever it is, in pretty much control.
Right.
And so all of a sudden his name being brought up, when very, very easy that Tribal for him to be voted off. Like it's very simple to rally 3 votes or whatever to vote Mike off. So I didn't think he had an inkling at all that he might be in trouble. And that was honest gut shot reaction of being hyper defensive. Like, no, don't vote me. What are you talking about? I'm not.
Right.
You're stupid. I'm not a threat. Yeah, you are.
I just want to talk about Kara really quick.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Me and Pedro.
Yeah, I was literally about to go into that.
Because Kara had this idea after the second immunity challenge to go after Mike because she realized that Mike was a threat after, he tells her about Angelina and that she's an idol and what Angelina's planning and, Angelina's plan. And Kara's like, hey, Mike is actually a threat. Let's target Mike.
Right.
That's when I thought the game was going to turn.
Well, and okay, I'm glad you brought that up because when we saw that Kara held up her paper and she said, I'm only doing this because I can't sit next to you at the final 3 and I don't want to give Angelina the satisfaction of playing her idol correctly. I'm instantly thinking, oh, she's voting for Mike for sure. Because of the way she said it. Right. Yeah. The way that
Agreed.
she said it, the way that she had talked about Mike earlier, that he was a threat. She wanted to rally everybody against Mike. And then she ends up voting for Alison at the end. I agree that she needed to get Alison out at some point. Alison and her were very close. But the fact that she said that, I thought it was Mike.
Yeah.
Can we try and decipher this? Maybe we're overthinking here, but can we try and decipher what she said and how on earth it made sense with her vote for Alison? Because I agree with everyone that it made more. It fit so perfectly with Mike that the fact it turned out to be Alison, I have no idea where that came from.
I think no, go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say a lot of it is Angelina not having very good situational awareness of the fact that everybody knows you have an idol. So you're not playing it right or not. And they just, I think, wanted Angelina to look a little silly.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole time I thought she was voting for Mike, especially with that speech.
Right. And the fact, too, that she's like, hold on, Jeff, we're not done yet. Pulls out her idol and says, I might have made the jankiest fake idol ever, but I made it. And here's my idol, and I'm playing it for me. Again, Gabby calls out, wow, she cannot stop talking about this fake idol. Angelina, just the way that she
talks about things, it just comes off
very frustrating to me.
Yeah, it's just I wish, Natalie in earlier this season, she just has this way about her that she's not very self-observant and doesn't realize how she's coming across. And it's just frustrating for everybody else because I'm like, you really had a chance, like you said, Veronica, you really had all the tools to win this game, and you threw it out of the window.
I don't know if she had all the tools to win.
I really think that she was a great talker.
Ideas. She had the proper ideas.
And think about this, when at the beginning, to your point, literally 2 days into this, we were like, Angelina's got to go. Angelina's got to go. She's got to go. She's got to go. And then she made it to the final 3.
Right. I mean, so if we look at it like that, I mean, she's a good talker. She was not an underdog per se, but she was targeted for a while, and she still made it to final 3. And she's,
But sorry, she was targeted for a while, but that was a long time ago. I was honestly surprised that Alison's targeting maintained for so long, and Angelina's dropped off. But I guarantee, and I think as we've seen now with the way it ended up, she was solely strung along for no one is going to vote for you. Vote, which is exactly what happened. We even saw Gabby giving her so much props for women don't find hidden immunity idols, and you're the last woman standing, and props. She didn't even vote for her.
Right.
So.
I mean, I think it was kind of known that she was going to be, by the time that she passed the point of no return of okay, we're knocking Angelina out, people don't really relate to her in the way that she talks and the way that she presents stuff. Yeah, she's very persuasive, but I feel like people have been living with her for so long that they can see right through that.
Yes.
And they, once they got past getting her out, they were like, well, let's take her to the final 3.
Yeah.
Right away, Nick says, okay, the only person out of you two that I'm going to win against is Angelina.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we kind of knew at some point that she was being taken, I don't want to say as the GOAT, but as
you knew that you had better chances against her because, again, Angelina had very good ideas put in play for her game, and she did make some really good points, with her being a woman trying to find idols and everything. Props to her for all of that. But as for her overall gameplay, it just never came together.
Yeah. Agreed.
I actually disagreed with Nick when he said that. I think actually he had the best shot one-on-one of beating Kara. Because I don't think Kara did enough throughout the season to warrant a victory. And I think between Kara versus Angelina had a better shot of talking people into voting for her at least. At least she did a bunch of stuff. I think Kara was a part of a lot, but I don't think she led and just did enough to win.
Well, I agree with that. And Kara kind of owns this, almost to a fault in my eyes. She's I played this very plain Jane type of game. And she says at Tribal, hey guys, I didn't really do much of anything. Those were her exact words. I didn't really do much of anything.
Yeah, it's bad.
Don't ever say that.
But at the same time, Mike, I'm going to disagree with you. I feel like if he did wind up taking Kara, I mean, at the end of the day, we see that Angelina didn't get any votes. Kara, I mean, because she was annoying, because nobody liked her. Kara, on the other hand, she really didn't hurt anybody. She was actually a very likable person. She played a very good game. She's very under the radar. I think that she might have gotten a vote or two.
She made great relationships.
Or maybe three from somebody, and that could have taken votes away from Nick, which could have jeopardized his game. So I think him taking Angelina to the end was the right choice.
I absolutely think you should have taken Angelina. But I think over Mike, if I had to choose between, okay, I know he's taking Angelina to the end, but say that you had to choose between Mike and Kara, I would 100% pick Kara if I was Nick.
Yeah.
Because Mike, I mean, I think that Mike could and did get votes against Nick. Yeah. Kara might not. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like I might, I don't know if anyone else agrees with me on this, but I feel like because I was so like wanting either Davy or Nick to win. When Davy went out first episode, I got really nervous, especially if Nick hadn't won the 3 immunities, because he would have been the next to go home. And then I can acknowledge that everybody left in the game had really good moments and really good parts about their game and their personalities that made them appealing. But if say, for example, Nick had gotten eliminated, I felt like the rest of the episode would have been slightly underwhelming because I was sitting there and thinking, what would they say that would be like, yes, that's an amazing speech to win over the jury to get $1 million.
As if who said this?
The say, for example, it was like, at this point in the game, if it was like Kara, Angelina, or Alison, or any of the mixture of those four, as opposed to like Davy or Nick, I was thinking in my head, I would be slightly underwhelmed because I can't imagine what they would say because their game was very slow burn. It was very hidden in the background, very under the radar.
Okay, well, let me pose this question then, going off of that. So, on day 38, we get into immunity, right? So this is our final immunity. The person that wins is going to the final 3 no matter what, and they get to decide who they take with them. So it's that ball challenge, right? And Angelina's out first. Mike's not paying attention. He's pretty lax. He loses as well. But it is a battle between Kara and Nick.
It's not really a battle, though.
Right. Okay, it's not really a battle, but it could have gone either way. Kara could have easily won this challenge. At the beginning, Nick said, I didn't feel confident in this challenge. I won 2 immunities before this, but I didn't really think I could pull this off. And Kara, on the other hand, is saying, this is the immunity that I can win. I can win this. So say that Kara had pulled this off and won, what do you guys think would have been the different outcome then?
I think Kara also would have took Angelina.
Yeah. Yep.
And then it would have been down to Mike and Nick to make fire. And then based on that, like, I know there's so many factors and there's nothing that we could predict. I would say like who would have won. I don't know. Clearly we didn't think Mike would win. Mike didn't even think that he would win in fire, and he did.
Say that Mike still won the fire challenge, right? So then it's Mike, Angelina, and Kara in the end rather than Nick. Do you think Mike would have won over Kara?
Yes.
Mike wins hands down.
I would still think Mike wins.
You guys, I don't know. I feel like
I agree.
Okay, no. Hold on. I got to bring it to the chat really quick because I missed. So Roy, no, sorry. We do have some really great people in the chat, you guys. Mira Domains, Chelsea M90, Javon Boyce. We've got some Eric Olin, obviously.
Thanks for joining,
We've got
guys.
some really great.
Obviously.
I mean, there have been people in this chat that have been with us for seasons, so we appreciate you guys. We love you guys.
Thank you so much, everyone.
You guys are talking so much, though, but somebody, I can't remember, I want to say it's Javon, said that Kara was very liked by the Goliaths, and she easily could have swayed a lot of their votes because there was a lot of Goliaths that were on the jury. And she was a fellow, Goliath, so she could have gotten a lot of votes.
Honestly,
she could have won.
It would have not made me upset if Kara had won. I think that she won an immunity. She made relationships with everybody. Like she was kind of under the radar and plain Jane. But I'm basically saying that I don't think the way that she posed her game to everybody did her any justice. I think that she was better than she's playing it off. And I know you have to kind of say like, hey, here's why I'm trying to sway you to take me to the jury or to the final with you. But she was saying, like, I didn't do anything.
I agree. I don't think that you should ever say the words, I didn't do anything, or downplay your game, because your opponent could use that against you, but then the jury is going to sit there and go, okay, well, you didn't even think that you felt like you did anything. And
so why should I vote for you?
Exactly. And at the same time, they could sit there and go, if I was in her position, I would probably say the same thing.
Yes.
But just the words coming out of your mouth just doesn't sit well with me, because I feel like you're giving up. Even if it's a ploy, like, I would never say it.
And also, though, say that to Nick when you're alone with him, which she did. She said that. But then she also said it in front of the jury at Tribal.
Right.
I mean, none of this makes a difference because she got out on the fire thing, so we didn't have to vote for her anyways. But it was just like, you shouldn't really say that you're not doing anything in Survivor.
And I feel like she did do things. I mean, there are other people, other players that we could look at in the past that really have not done anything. Yeah. But Kara, like I said, she stayed under the radar. She tried to play when she could. She didn't give up on challenges. She was on the top of challenges. She played a very good social game. She had alliances with Goliaths that were mostly on the jury. Like, there were things that she could have done, and she could have gotten votes in the end. So for her to downplay herself, I didn't like that.
Yeah. And then, so at the final Tribal, it's Kara and Mike that have to do their fire duel. And Mike's basically saying, like, just the thought of doing the fire, like, it makes me anxious, and I'm now scared of being scared. And Kara seems very confident. And I was kind of like, as the story's progressing, I'm like, Mike's probably gonna freaking pull this off, right?
Yeah.
And like,
That's how it goes, right?
To John's point, in the final jury, he says, well, you know, you made this big fire, and then why weren't you doing that back at camp or anything? And I mean,
you mean Dan?
No, John said that to him. Oh no, Dan said that to him. Sorry,
yeah.
And Dan says that, like, where were you during this? And I mean, Mike's, I don't know if he's ever made a fire before that, but he pulled off a big fire. I thought the base was going to go out for a minute, but he pulled it off.
I don't know. Here's the thing. I want to talk about that really quick, because when Dan called him out again, and Mike, I'm going to go back to what you said. You know, when Mike is put in, not you, Mike the player.
Yeah.
When Mike is put in these situations of being called out, he really takes a very defensive side.
Yeah.
And when Dan said that, he said, oh, are you calling me lazy? Are you calling me the L word? Right then and there,
Like,
I was like,
why?
oh, you're going to screw yourself over right now if you get very aggressive. And luckily he didn't. He took a step back, and I think he realized, like, hey, I need to take a step back.
He does get aggressive.
I do have to admit, sorry.
No, go.
I do have to admit, he is incredibly lucky that he was never targeted early on, because that really would have bit him in the butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, I hadn't really thought about that before, but he does get pretty defensive in that. So we know the final three, Angelina, Mike, and Nick. I mean, good props to them for the final.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can I jump in real quick?
Jump in.
Before we leave this tribal, as a super fan, there was something inside of me that was really hoping that Nick told them back at camp, I'm going to take Angelina, so the two of you are going to battle it out. And then on the day when Angelina said, well, Nick was nice to us and kind of already told us, I thought he was good. I wanted him so bad to play a fast one and say, surprise, Angelina, you have no practice and you're making fire tonight.
But I don't think that would have benefited his game at all, because then Angelina
I wanted it to happen, Paige. I don't care.
I get it. But it wouldn't have benefited him, because then Angelina would have obviously lost, and then he would have been against two stronger players.
There are things that we just imagined because we were even better
Fair
TV.
enough.
But no,
Such great
I mean,
TV.
guys, let's look at it in a different way though. Like, say he did do that, and say Angelina was put up on there on the block, and then she actually did make fire and win. People would probably look at Nick and go, "Wow, that was that's a
move."
Yeah. So maybe
that was a dick move, and Angelina did it.
And like, now I'm gonna vote for her over you. Like, it could have really bit him in the ass.
I have a question. Sorry, taking a few steps back here. Did any of us think that maybe when Angelina found the idol, granted she didn't have much time to use it, but did any of us find that dangerous? Like, oh, maybe they should try and vote her out because there's an idol in play now. Yes, no, maybe.
Well, no, because she had to use it.
She had to use it. She wasn't
that's
gonna
what
win
I was
anyway.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because she had to use it on that tribal.
Yeah, and you know she was gonna use it for herself.
Yeah, there's no way I'm using it for anybody else at that point
Exactly.
in the game. And I don't think
love
I
it.
ever
She wouldn't let anybody climb up the ladder either. She's like, no, I'm climbing up the ladder.
Okay, but
so that I can say I climbed 100 feet.
For the record,
100 feet.
I would have.
50, I don't know.
I almost fell off that
For the
rock.
record, if I was Angelina, I'd have been like, no, I want to climb the ladder. I want to grab the idol. Like, I found the clue. It should be me who found the idol.
Absolutely.
I mean, we like to talk stuff about Angelina, but at the same time, it's like, you know, at the end of the day, she played her game. She might not have won, but she, at the end of the day, had, you know, some good arguments in there. And I honestly thought that she could have won this if she hadn't have been the kind of person that she is.
Yeah, honestly, like, her personality frustrates me a little bit, but I can recognize that she pulled off her game way better than I thought she did. So I'm going to give Angelina props where props are due.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people in the
agree.
chat, I'm sorry, you guys, like, you are saying, you know, Angelina was a goat. She wasn't going to win. She was never going to win. I just disagree. I know she was on my fantasy draft.
And I would have said that 5 weeks ago, probably.
Yeah, and I really did like her in the beginning. And, you know, you guys turned on her way before I did. But, and then I slowly got there, especially after the family challenge. Like, she definitely got on my nerves. But taking a step back from personal feelings, I could look at Angelina and say, you know, you had, like I said, all the tools, I think, to win this game. You just shot yourself in the foot, and it's unfortunate.
I completely agree.
Absolutely. The moves she did were on point, but constantly describing what she was doing to the players, it's almost like she was doing a confessional that was only supposed to be producers, but constantly to all of her tribe mates and everybody else.
It's
and constantly pointing it out. If that was kept
off.
secret, I think she had a good shot. And we actually saw during the reunion, I loved what she said, because it's important to remember that all of these players, they're just people. This is all being edited together and kind of making characters out of them. And she was the first to say, when I was watching, no one was laughing louder than me at the rice stuff, and me yelling at the TV saying, "Stop about the jacket!
she said
Shut
that?
up! Don't say it anymore."
In the
like
reunion.
In
the reunion, she anteed up to it. So. I thought she was going to hint a lot more at the reunion about coming back for another season, but I think if she did, I think she'd learn her lessons. And I think the whole time she really had, as much as we hate on her, she got great intentions, and she's a really good player.
I was gonna say I really enjoy the fact that she owned up to that, because it's true. These are people, and the show is edited together to kind of create the characters that they want to create. And I'm glad that she owned up to it. And the thing about Angelina is that her portrayal on the show is so polarizing that it did make for great TV.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, maybe they would invite her back for another season just for that reason.
She would be a great comeback story. I think that if she only learns to keep her mouth shut.
Yes, but she like had even said like, I'm a little evil, like I'm a little villainy, but like when you look at Angelina, you're like, you're not a villain.
No.
Just the way that you do things is a little off to us. But like, she's not a villain.
I did like that idea of a complete villains season, though.
Let's do heroes. Let's do heroes versus villains again. I like that.
Oh, I like the whole. I like villains.
I like just
all
villainy.
All villains, and like all who is put. Like, you can have like Russell on there, Abby Maria.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Oh my God.
Imagine all of those personalities on one island. Oh my gosh, poor Jeff.
Tim and I could not freaking stand Abby Maria.
No.
That would be a great season.
You know what I would love?
Let's pitch it right now.
Yeah,
Let's do
I think I would love all heroes, and then seeing who becomes the villain in the heroes.
That's true.
Oh,
That'd be kinda
I
cool.
like that too.
You know, as long as we're throwing out ideas for new seasons, I saw something on Twitter. I can't remember the user, but it was a great idea. It was utilizing the buffs, and that the buffs actually had a map to like hidden treasure / immunity idols or something like that, like clues hidden in plain sight of stuff that you're using. I thought that was awesome. Like, what a great twist for something.
That's interesting.
To see in there.
So speaking of, I guess like we can move into like the final questions that we had at our last tribal, right? So like everybody gets their chance to say stuff. And Elizabeth right away, I think that she was kind of pointing this towards Angelina, but she says like, I need you guys, first of all, congrats, but second of all, I need you to be real in your answers. Please don't be political with me. If you're being political, like I'm not voting for you. Like just like straight up. And I'm like, all right, cool. And Christian right away talks about like outwitting. What did you guys do to outwit? Please explain this to me, right? And Nick, I think his answers are spot on every time he does it. He's like, you know what? I made alliances. It's all about timing and information. Timing and information. I got my information. I made my alliances. I had the personal connection with people. He made all these Mason Dixon, the this, the that. He had everybody on his side. And I think that, you know, he highlights the John move that he made, which is true. And then, I mean, just all I'm trying to say, I guess, is props off to Nick. I think that his answers were very, like, perfect. What did you guys think about the way that he was kind of going about his final answers?
I loved the way he went about his final answers, just because they did very sound genuine. Like, as a viewer, I was moved by a lot of what he was saying, and it didn't sound, and he did it in a way that didn't sound like over dramatic. Like, yes, I'm telling you this story to make you really
he seems
vote
genuine.
It was very genuine.
I think out of sometimes when you get into these final threes and the jury starts asking questions, you can pinpoint one person and be like, wow, you're really not good at answering questions. Like you're answering these questions completely like offhandedly, like you're never gonna win. I feel like going into this, we could have all sat there and went, you know, Angelina was just strong along. But, and I know I keep going back to Angelina, I'm gonna go back to Nick in a second. But I feel like each of these three held their own in answering their questions. And this was the first time that I saw Angelina actually be sincere. Now, in terms of her jumping in front of Mike to answer questions, like you could roll our eyes and stuff like that. But guys, this is $1 million. I would sit there and be like, you know, I'm gonna talk first. You know, and yes, it can come across.
But why can't you just let Mike answer and then answer?
How much do you talk?
I get that. It can come across as rude, but at the same time, you can't deny that, you know, you want to be aggressive for $1 million. Now, Nick, I think, answered these questions brilliantly. I wasn't really even on board with Nick, like 100%, until he gave us the whole backstory about, you know, how his mom died of a drug overdose. And usually personal stories really don't sway me because I'm like, this is a game. Like, we need to base it on the gameplay. But I mean, something about his story about how, you know, his mom died of a drug overdose and like what he did after that with his life to kind of help people really just resonated with me, and that's what got my vote. That's what would have made me change my vote.
It's very interesting too, because that was the story he told at the very beginning of the season that almost got him eliminated.
Because of the fake crying that we all thought was fake.
Everyone thought
I think
it was
the way
fake.
that he cries is just like that. But
yeah, I thought as soon as Angelina did that to Mike, by the way, I was like, she's digging. You're just digging your own grave. That's it. You just dug it, and everybody sees it. And I actually was expecting Mike to get a little more aggressive there and go, no, you can't.
But
because
no,
this
it's
is what you
better-
do all the time.
It's better for him to sit back and be like, yeah, Angelina, go for it. Like, we all know
guess
how
it was,
you are.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And just be like, no, go ahead. And then when she let him talk, all right, thank you. Now I'm going to say my piece. But for Angelina, okay, I agree with you. It's $1 million. You got to say everything you need to say. But, like, it's also about being polite and waiting your turn and showing the jury, hey, maybe I used to talk like this and be annoying, but look I've changed. Like, you got to, like, play that game as well. And I think that sometimes she just doesn't understand that.
Yeah.
But still going back to Nick a little bit. So, like, John basically, he highlights a John move, but then John says, hey, okay, I understand that was a great move. Hats off to you. But I think that that's where your game peaked. And I think it's since fallen down. What do you guys think about that comment?
I thought it was completely not unwarranted because, you know, you're a jury member. You have a right to feel however you want to feel. But, dude, he just won 3 immunity idols. Like, if we're talking about his social game, I mean, I guess you have a point, but out playing, I mean, you just won literally three immunity idols in a row to get you to the final 3. So you can't really knock him for any kind of gameplay that he's done because
I think he means his social game at that
no,
point.
I get that, and I'm trying to think, like, if you win immunity, like, are you more ballsy, and you are, to make more moves? And I think Nick was, but I don't know. I didn't like that John said that. I mean, for him to kind of take away credit from Nick in that moment, I just thought was unfair.
And then he also makes him elaborate further. He goes, yeah, you did this, but, like, keep going, you know? And it's like, well, I told you what I did.
Yeah.
When that comment was made, the only thing I can think of that maybe took away from Nick's social game was the fact that he got very offended and upset whenever he was blindsided by a vote, whether it was Carl or whether it was Davey. But in his defense, I totally get it. Like, those are people that you not only had close relationships with, but that were also, like, a part of your game.
Yeah.
So of course you're going to be upset if someone who you thought was in your alliance doesn't tell you something.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, but as soon as he said that, I was really perplexed because when someone makes a comment like that, we think, like, I get what he's saying. I actually don't. He hasn't seen any of the backstory or anything like we have, right? They just see tribals.
Yeah.
So you have no idea what he's doing back in camp. You have no idea the plots and stuff that he's behind because they're not being forthcoming at tribal council with exactly what they're doing. So it's like, how do you know at all what he's
That's a good
doing?
point. But then at the same time, Mike, he's a jury member. He
just
wants
asking.
to know. He's asking.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure, yeah, exactly. But I thought it's almost an empty question because it's very easy to say a bunch of stuff when you realize you haven't seen anything that I've done.
Agreed.
So sure,
Agreed.
I get
I agree
it, blah,
with
blah, blah. So,
Right. Okay, first of all, how cute is Davey when he, like, comes on to tribal?
adore
He's
him
adorable.
so
I
much.
adore him totally, 100%. But I think that he makes, first of all, some really good points at tribal, at the final questionnaire situation. First of all, he says to Angelina, hey, you're calling out that you do all these selfless acts, but the whole point of a selfless act is to make it selfless, and you keep talking about it. And he says that at tribal to her. And then he also, I think, one of the best questions of this whole thing was that he says, all right, let's reverse the roles, and you be David and you be Goliath.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Okay, going off of those answers, I thought that Angelina was a little lacking in hers. I thought that she could have elaborated a little bit more. It wasn't a bad answer.
Yeah.
But then I guess I look at Davey's answer and I go, well, Davey's answer is, like, so
You mean
good.
Nick's answer?
No, sorry, Nick's answer. Nick's answer was so good that I'm like, he totally, like, blew Angelina out of the water. So it's hard for me to sit here and go, you know, Angelina's answer could have been better. And it could have, but I don't think anything could have beaten Nick's answer.
No. It was very well said.
Yeah. And also, like, speaking of good answers, I thought Mike's ending question about, like, just, you know, your summary, and he says, you know, this has never been about, like, the pot of gold for me at the end. It's been, like, the journey of the rainbow.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I do have to make a quick confession here. I am a little surprised that Mike got as far as he did, especially in the beginning, just because we know Mike's background.
Right.
And usually that can be something people see as like, well, why are you here, you know, for $1 million when you have this kind of money?
They use their personal lives against them, of course.
They use it against them. So I am a little surprised, I guess.
Veronica and I are mind melding right now because I was going to say the same thing.
right?
He's been on Amazing Race already.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of money for movies and stuff. They're usually an easy kind of vote out right
And they
away.
say you're
if
an
you go
actor.
back, original OG seasons of Survivor, you got kicked out for being a dentist or so, just like something with a good career, let alone somebody, you know, semi-famous. So
yeah, a couple
more
seasons
props
ago,
to him for making it.
Yeah, a couple seasons ago, it was like an NFL player, and like he like couldn't say anything. Or
Brad
he used to play.
Culpepper.
Yeah, well, him, but there was also another one I thought. I don't know, or
Probably.
maybe it's culpable.
There was
whatever.
a
We'll say it's
coach,
culpable.
the Dallas coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're like right away, they're like, I can't tell him this stuff, you know, because people like take that and run with it. But I was gonna say something about Mike. Oh, when he says basically like, in my real life, I'm so different that I'm here. I'm very competitive. Like I have all these people that work under me, yada yada.
Yeah, bad.
And he goes, I played this game of like, hey, I'm just happy to be here. And that game worked for him though. Like I'm just happy to be here game. Like because if he would have been that competitive, like sarcastic, like biting person, he wouldn't have been able to get so far because he says, I'm just happy to be here because, you know?
I was nervous when he made the people work under me comment, though, because I felt like that could have switched people's votes right away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially David's.
Oh, yeah.
But like to the point of like Mike has all this other stuff going for him. Amazing Race, this.
Yeah.
He didn't need to play. He needed to really think about the game he was going to play. He didn't go out there and be that strong person right away. He needed to be like, this is fun. Where's my canteen?
No, props to Mike for making it this far, especially like you said,
Exactly,
Mike.
yeah.
I mean, Mike in the chat.
Mike in the box.
Mike in the box. You know, for him being such a successful guy in his personal life and coming to Survivor, like you said, people have gotten kicked out for a lot worse than that.
Right.
For a lot less than that. And he made it to the end.
Yeah.
So good for him for making the alliances and making all those final twos, apparently.
Definitely.
To get him to the end.
I think the biggest, most important takeaway from all this is like Nick made it known that like in his final statement, he was the underdog all season.
Yes.
He came back. He was like, and also it was like the fate of these three Goliaths was in a David's hand.
Yes.
And I love that a David won this season.
I'm really glad that David won this season. I am. I just have to say this really quick. And I know that my excitement for Nick might be a little underwhelming, especially hearing his story and everything like that. I just have to say, I really, really wanted it to be a woman or a person of color that won this season. I need to say this. Survivor has been very whitewashed lately. And, you know, Davey said it when Jeff interviewed him. Angelina said it in the end, you know, I'm a woman and I'm a woman of color, which I didn't know. You know, she looks not, but good for her. I just wish that it was somebody that was, you know, a person of color or, you know, a woman, somebody who is marginalized in society, because I feel like that's what Survivor is about. And I don't want to take away anything from Nick, and I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for this. But I just need...
Timothy, honestly, okay. As an example, exactly what you're saying right now is I was having a conversation with one of our fans today, Sam, and he said, I want Kara to win because I want a woman to win this season. Because women, when's the last time a woman won? Michelle? How many seasons ago was that?
Well, Sarah.
Sarah, right, okay. But either way, like, as you said, I mean, it's not like you're just feeling this. A lot of people are feeling this.
Okay.
And I'm glad I want the best player to win. But a lot of other people have had that reaction. A lot of people wanted Angelina to win because she was a woman. And as to Gabby's questions, or her basically, Gabby didn't really ask any questions. She said, hey, I know that women are portrayed this way in society, in the media. We're portrayed a certain way. And, like, you came back and you showed us that, like, you're sitting there and we're not, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I feel like
And then she didn't vote for her.
And then
she didn't vote for her.
And then she didn't vote for her. But I feel like you shouldn't vote. But in props to Gabby, like, you shouldn't vote for somebody just because they're a person of color, just because they're a woman. You should vote for the best player, which is exactly why Nick won.
And the best player won.
But I think we all have similar feelings to you, Timothy. It would be great to have a person of color or a woman win a season.
But it's just about like having more diversity.
A recent season, exactly.
No, I think I'm happy Nick won. I think the right person won. But a lot of people have felt this way. But I mean, speaking of the votes, so Mike got 3 votes: Christian, Alison, and Kara.
Can I just like say something real quick about this? Okay, I know that we've talked about that Mike had a really good shot winning, especially going up against Nick. And so when 3 votes came out for Mike at the very end,
at the top,
my heart dropped. I was like, if he wins, I have to be honest, guys. I would have been disappointed just because at a game standpoint, Nick, as a viewer, clearly to me at least played the much better game. And if Mike had won, I would have been like, guys, what was your idea with voting?
Right.
I mean, Christian voted for Mike,
and the producers got you to feel exactly like they wanted you to feel.
Exactly. Nick was the first vote, and then we had 3 mics.
That's
and I was like, shit.
Yeah. I feel like because Christian voted for Mike, Christian's votes should be counted as 2. Because he's such a good player.
Well, I mean,
I was disappointed with that vote.
Really?
Because the whole time I was excited about Mike and Christian being a pair and being a little secret alliance. And I thought it was cool, kind of nerdy guys, but David and Goliath. And then Mike just turned on him and just wanted him out the whole time. That I was disappointed that he got his vote in the end.
That vote was very confusing because Kara and Allison, I totally understand, but the Christian vote was shocking to me.
Yeah. I mean, Karen and Alison, like you said, they were close with Mike the entire game. Like, that made more sense to me. But, I mean, Elizabeth, Dan, John, Alec, Carl, Gabby, Davey, they all voted for Nick. At first, I thought, with the way that they showed us, I thought Davey didn't vote for Nick. And I was like, no way, dude. Like, he had to have voted for Nick.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why Christian made the decision that he did, but it was probably very calculated. And he did it for a reason.
Of course.
How long was he standing at that podium that they didn't show us?
Right. Well, I guess with the end of this, do you guys want to like go into like news and gossip and stuff about next season a little bit, or do you have anything else you want to touch on before?
No, we can go into that.
We can go.
Okay. So as for news and gossip, Alec posted an entire Instagram live, if anybody saw.
Oh, boy.
I watched the whole thing.
Of course you did.
An Instagram live about how, like, he explained the entire Kara thing and that, like, he was banned from the reunion and everybody was like, unban Alec. And he was like, it wasn't supposed to be an FU to CBS, like, yada, yada. It was just, like, we were both living in San Diego at the time. We were hanging out and, like, I just posted it and I shouldn't have. And he was, like, very apologetic and, like, took responsibility for it. And he was like, you know, he was like, this sucks, but like, I posted the picture. But you know what I find interesting is that while he did all this, 2 days ago, Kara was posting, I don't know if now that like the cast, because when Alec posted this, the cast they weren't announced yet. Like, so I think that had a factor in it. But like, normally they still don't post with each other and stuff. But like, I saw like Kara was posting all these Instagram like stories and like a bunch of people were like posting Instagram stories and stuff. So I was like, I thought we weren't supposed to do this.
I don't understand their rules on social media when the show is airing.
I mean, I do understand their rules on some level. I think
I understand the rules of like, don't give away any spoilers, but like taking a picture with someone.
But to Nick's point, like he had said, or sorry, to Alec's point, he had said like at the time the cast wasn't announced, so like to anybody it could have been like, oh, I'm just hanging out with this girl.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But, I mean, now they're posting a bunch of... I mean, now, obviously, the finale's done, but this was, like, 3 days ago that they were, like Kara was posting videos and stuff, and I was like, I thought we weren't supposed to do that.
I don't know. I'm just glad that he took responsibility for it. I'm glad that, you know, they stuck to their guns. I mean, there are consequences to your actions, and, you know, unfortunately, that's what happened.
And he said that he hopes to come back and play Forever again. I don't know if that's going to happen, though.
I don't know.
I do like Alec.
I do like Alec,
but
too.
I really like him. He got a lot of flack, like, right
Sure you do.
At the beginning of the season, he was like, right away, because of this, like, my reputation was tainted, and people didn't like me right off the bat. And I wasn't aware of that at that moment. So,
that makes more sense, yeah.
And then,
I didn't feel any of that. I liked him.
I liked him.
I don't care if he does something that breaks the rules in the real world. I don't care about how he plays Survivor.
Yeah, true. And what do you guys think about next season's theme and like what's going on? Are you guys excited? Do we have an air date?
I feel like I just don't have any clue. They're dropping hints, obviously, but I still feel like I have no idea what it's going to be. At least with David and Goliath page, you were like, the name was
I was so mad.
But at least you knew what you understood what it was.
Right.
This one, I don't know. They're teasing and I still don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's very like up in the air with us. It's very 50-50. Like sometimes they'll give us a title or they'll give us these teasers and we're like, that's the stupidest thing we ever heard. And then it turns out to be a great season. Like look at David and Goliath. I mean, we were all like, oh, okay. And then it turned out to be a great season. So I mean, you know, and then we look at Ghost Island, we can be like, oh, that looks like a great season. And then we were like, oh, it doesn't
very
work.
underwhelming.
So it's like, I don't know. I'm not going to make any predictions until I actually start watching it.
True.
Wait,
I've learned my lesson.
I was going to say, what do you think, Mike, with the...
I'm excited. I had an article that pulled up the exact Jeff Probst quote here from Extinction because they are not giving too much away. But I guess I just wanted to read it and maybe we could ruminate on it for a second. The inspiration for next season came from our desire to see if we can take the show even deeper. One thing that's become apparent over the last several years is that the yearning for adventure in our lives is a real thing. Survivor already provides an amazing format for gameplay. So, what would happen if we added another challenge to the experience? A question that simply asks, how bad do you want this?
Wow.
So to me, from at the end of the reunion, I think it's going to be, instead of Exile Island, I think we're going to have Extinction Island. And I don't know what kind of long-term solo stay on Extinction Island people are going to have or something like that. But it sounds like they're going a little more hardcore with it.
I was going to say, it sounds like they I don't know, because like in OG Survivor, Mike, like it was truly like people having to survive on an island with the element of gameplay. Now it's more like the element of gameplay, and the producers, it seems like, gives them a little bit more to live off of. I don't know if next season brings back the element of like equal amounts of gameplay and equal amounts of having to actually survive on an island.
It was so funny because like I just turned on like season 7 the other day, and like you guys know, like I've only watched Survivor from like the new, like I guess let's look at it in 2 phases, the old and the new. Like I've only really seen it in the new. I've seen a few episodes, and then like the first episode of season 7, like they were like going to the market and like buying food, and I was like, what is this? Like it's so different.
It's so different.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope with this whole new look at adventure, I hope that they can find adventure away from Fiji.
Yeah.
Chelsea 90 in the chat said it. I think they love Fiji, and that's great that they're boosting up their economy and everything.
Yeah.
But
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either. No,
I mean,
because
they
it would have
found
been all
something
over
that
the
worked.
news blogs.
They
would have
found
been
something
like,
that worked.
oh, we found an island somewhere else that they would have been announced already that they have a different location. But
do you guys think with the returning 4 players? So we've got Aubrey, David Wright from Millennials vs. Gen X. We got Kelly Wentworth and Joe.
Okay, I love Kelly Wentworth.
One of Paige's crush.
Yeah, one of my crushes. I love Kelly Wentworth, but she's played like 6 times, I feel like.
Joe is going to be a target right off of the bat. I mean, he was in his season. And,
He's always.
And David is so smart. But what I was going to say is, do you guys think that, for one, are they going to be split up on different tribes, 2 and 2? And 2, do you think if they can make it to the merge, will they join up as vets and work together?
Oh, that's a good question.
Maybe. All I know is if I was a new player, like I would be targeting them right away.
Of course.
Yeah.
Especially Joe. Like,
yeah.
It's like really.
I would target like the Aubrey, who like, you know what I mean? Who like kind of is the silent killer.
To be perfectly
She's smart.
honest,
She's calculating.
To be perfectly honest, that's obvious that if you're a new player and these are returning players, vets, and they have played this game multiple times, of course you're going to want to go after them. And it almost, from a fan's point of view, makes it seem like, oh, it'll be impossible for them to win. But veterans have come back multiple times. Like
Sandra?
Boston Rob?
Yeah, dude. Sandra won like 3 freaking times. Or twice.
Twice.
Come on, you won Survivor twice, dude. Not only did you play 3 times, but you won twice.
It's such a great accomplishment. Good for her.
How do you let that happen?
How do you let her go?
Yes.
It's insane.
Yeah. So, props off to Sandra, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we got to start wrapping it up, you guys. But, I mean, any final thoughts before we wrap up this wonderful 37th season of Survivor?
I just want to say, like, this season of Survivor has been completely impressive. Last season with Ghost Island, I was very attracted to the concept of like reversing the curse, of actually using advantages that people for a lot of reasons don't use. And I was very attracted to that idea, and it for me at least, it came out to be kind of an underwhelming season. I love that this season, like, everyone took risks, everyone took advantages. No one really stayed loyal to tribal lines, even from the very beginning when they were on tribes. So I liked that this season really took risks and kind of flipped the script on previous seasons.
Agreed. I love the twist this season. I love the players this season. I loved the challenges this season. I loved the entire season. I mean, I don't think there's anything that I could say was at fault this season. I love the unpredictability of it. I love that they didn't talk too much about tribals beforehand. I just love this season. I thought it was one of the greatest seasons.
And a lot of people, it seems like Universal, like, people really enjoyed this season, and I really enjoyed covering this season. And Survivor's so good.
Survivor's amazing.
What about you, Mike? Yes, no on the season?
Absolutely. You know, I said when I first joined this panel, and I love you guys for welcoming me in so homely. It was amazing. But I said, now is the time, the best time ever to be a Survivor fan. Because I've been there since day one. A lot of our viewers that did chat and comment, we've been there since day one. It was a little bit slow going sometimes, but it was always fun. Now, every tribal is a blind side. There's constant twists and turns. You know, the advantages that they put in, they don't overdo it. It's always fun when someone finds it. It always makes for really exciting episodes. I'm really excited, not only for this season and how good it was, but that we already know that we're going to be right back here talking about more Survivor February 20th.
Yeah,
we get more Survivor right away.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Agreed.
Well, this has been fun. You guys, everybody that's joined us every week, we love you guys. Thank you for being here. AfterBuzz, you guys subscribe, like. We can't wait to see you on February 20th. Is that the date?
Yes, February 20th, 2019.
38. Maybe we'll get on season 40, Mike.
Ooh, did you just toss me on the wayside already?
You already voted on.
season 39. We're on
That's
season
right.
39.
Yeah,
You guys,
can
they're
have
already
40. We'll
taping
do
39. Get out of here.
Shut up.
Come
Whatever.
on, they tape a couple seasons in advance. They might already be taping 40, actually.
I
So
mean, well, then
maybe
there
we'll
you
be on 45, Mike. We'll do it.
All right.
All right, everybody. Well, that was the finale of Survivor Season 37, David vs. Goliath. We love you guys. I'm your host, Paige Bonanno. You can find me all over social media at Paige Bonanno.
You guys, Christmas is like literally 6 days away, so everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I am Timothy Michael. You can reach me everywhere at I am Timothy Mike.
Hey everyone, Veronica Valencia. Again, happy holidays. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in with us all season long. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at it's me, Veronica_V.
Hey guys, this is Mike Feeling. My little buddy Bam Bam here has got to get to sleep. It's
Yeah.
way past his bedtime. Follow me at Mike Feeling if you want to see lots of pictures of Bam, because that's basically all.
Yes, and thanks for Skyping in. All right, everybody.
Thank you
guys,
so much.
Have a great night. We'll see you next season.
Good night, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.